And welcome to Bamojisoro Live. Bamojisoro is a program where we get to share thoughts, and someone called it expressions, someone else called it impressions, whatever you give it, but we get to talk about, reflect on our life journey. And so today I have someone very, very, very dear to us. And being the first time, we have our president, the president of the C88 group, Command 88 set. That's Fumi Suleiman. Fumi, welcome to Bamojisoro. I'm really excited to have you here, and I believe that we're going to have a wonderful time, and we're all going to be inspired and learn a lot from you. Welcome, Fumi.
Thank you, Moji. I'm really, really very honored to be here.
Okay, so as usual, we'll allow you to introduce yourself properly, your full name, and what you do, and where you live.
Thank you. Fumi Suleiman is my full name. I live in Lagos, Nigeria. After school, I think I'm going to go that way. I noticed many people did that, and I think I like that. I like that approach. I'm a deaconess within Christian Church of God, and I'm also a multifaceted entrepreneur. I own an 8-year-old fashion retail store called F3G1 Nigeria Limited, and that's an acronym for my name and the names of my siblings. I also co-own with a very good friend of mine a 4-year-old natural hair and body care products company, manufacturing company. We produce hair care, body care, and face care products from natural ingredients, 90% sourced in Nigeria, made from shea butter, African black soap, and essential oils. I also have a number of I don't like to use the word charity, but I support many care groups and families, at least 3 of them, also based in Lagos, Nigeria. I think that's about it for now.
Okay.
When people say talk about yourself, I don't really jump. I find out that that's one of the least favorite topics I get prepared for. I never really have a standard answer to give. So I kind of, fidget a bit about it, but
yeah, you've done well.
That's me.
You've done very well.
Thank you.
But let us know, can you give us your academic background?
Okay.
After you left command, I remember that for me, I saw in command. I can remember the first day I saw you, we had to share my seat and my desk. I remember that day very well. And then, so after you left command, tell us your journey, your academic background.
My academic background was, it started out very slow for me because I didn't get into university very early. I got into school approximately 4 years after our sets had gotten. So in other words, our set were in the final year when I got into university. And my first degree was University of Jos. I read political science as my first degree. And then I also did a master's in Unilag, international, it's not international law and development, so that's the one I wanted, but I couldn't get in for that. So I did the alternative, which was public and international affairs. And then I also have a number of courses from universities around the country. I have a course from Cornwall. I have a course from McMaster. I also, when I became a full-time entrepreneur, I attended the Faith Foundation, which is an organization based in Lagos, Nigeria, for entrepreneurs in 2016. And I was actually the valedictorian at the end of it all. And that helped me understand beyond my passion for being an entrepreneur. I needed to go and learn. Every other thing I did from head knowledge and my passion and maybe getting information from other people. But going to Faith Foundation really was a foundation I'm so thankful for, and I advise anyone who has the opportunity to do that to please go get some formal knowledge on how to become a business entrepreneur.
Where is that? Where's Faith Foundation?
Faith Foundation is in Lagos, Nigeria. It's in Nigeria. It's actually owned by the first founder of the GT Bank. So he has a passion for entrepreneurship, growing local entrepreneurships in Nigeria. So he set it up with, and because of his influence and his circle of influence, he was able to get a number of well-known Nigerians in the captive industries, not only entrepreneurs, but people in the public and private sector as well, to come and give their own bit. So you would walk into class and you have a CEO of I was going to say Fortune 500, but we're getting there in Jesus' name. You walk in and you just see someone that you see in the newspapers or someone you see on the news, and they're very willing to share their life experiences with you. You have their phone number. They tell you, call me anytime. That's one of the things that Faith Foundation did for me. The lawyers that I have today, I would rather not mention their names, but I can tell you that they're one of the executive directors on the board.
Okay.
And all my legal services tomorrow are pro bono, free, because I attended Faith Foundation. So you have access to people that would help you, not just because you want to, rub shoulders with people that are, are big, people that actually, have walked that walk and are not shy of giving you their life experiences. And so they can help you, because it's all about bringing up young entrepreneurs in the nation. That's their passion. And you actually see it come alive. They're not putting up a front. There's no face, they're not trying to, do a social CSR responsibility. They actually are passionate about bringing up young entrepreneurs across the nation. So I would advise anyone, and they're not paying me for this. I keep saying it. Every time I'm opportunity to talk about it, I do, and I encourage everyone, if you can, go to Faith Foundation.
That's interesting.
An apprenticeship course,
so
yes.
Tell me, for me. So when you left command, you went to Unijust, you studied political science. And after that, did you just start business? You went to Faith
Not
Foundation?
at all.
Oh, don't tell me.
Should be told.
Yeah.
Should be told, I never knew I was going to be an entrepreneur. I knew that I was inclined to do business. I knew that I always had something going on in the background, even while I was working, even while I was in school. So, but I didn't know that I was going to become a full-time entrepreneur as early as I did. It was a spiritual experience for me. So I was big on my career. I really wanted to, I didn't want to be a burden to anyone. I wanted to, be able to give back, even most important to my parents and my family. So I was very focused on my career. And I happened to stumble into HR. And I say stumble because I was thinking of something else in marketing, but when I got to this organization, and I'm talking about British American Tobacco, it was a HR position that was available. And I remember I even tried to get into Airtel at that time. And they told me, there's no position available, just the HR position. I turned it down. So apparently, in hindsight, I see HR had actually been the foundation that God had planned for me to have. But, I was running away from it. So I didn't do Airtel or Econet at that time. So when it came to British American Tobacco, it was more of a case of, I can't stay home any longer. I need to start working, and so I just jumped at it. So okay, let me just start it out, move on. But I found that it was my calling. It really was my calling, and I grew to become really, really high in my profession. I have a total of before I left full-time employment, I have a total of 17 years in HR. And I did a number of, I did both generalist role and specialist roles. And that's actually one of the things I do on the side as a consultant. But my business doesn't really give me that much chance. But I've been able to do while I left. In fact, while I was still serving my notice period, I had a friend who had told me, when I told her I was leaving, she said, I will be your first client. And one of the biggest rental companies we have in Nigeria, KFA Rentals, I'm actually their HR consultant, and I, put together their change management platform. And, it's still something I really like. I can get into it. It never leaves you. I can just switch into the HR mode very easily. One of us, in our class is actually having me come on board in his company as a board of directors. He says he can't pay me. So I'm actually on Tunde's board. I'm going to own his, partly own his HR consulting firm.
Okay.
Very soon, yes.
Okay, so you after school you worked at British
so I worked at Tobacco for 3.5 years, and then I got into Guinness, and Guinness I did approximately 10 years in Guinness.
Okay.
I didn't know I was going to stay 10 years anywhere, but it was actually Guinness that gave me BAT. I'm thankful for the platform and the foundation that BAT gave me, but Guinness helped me hone my skills and come into my own as a HR person, because I was able to do a plethora of roles. I did so many roles. If you check my profile on LinkedIn, you will see that, and it's 5-6 years outside full-time employment, but people still refer me to, and still, get in touch with me for HR roles, because they're kind of blind to what I do now. All they just see is my HR position. So for those of them that do a direct DM, I tell them, you know what? No, I'm an entrepreneur now.
Okay, so for me, tell me, for me, I mean, you said a lot, you do a lot, but tell me this for me that we see, I mean, with so many sides, how are you able to do all of these things?
Should be told, I don't know. And I would just, there's no formula. I don't have it all. I don't have, I don't have it down pat. I don't have a book. My focus, my foundation, my go-to, my platform, my director is God, and I'm not trying to be religious, because if you notice, I said something that my leaving full-time employment was divinely orchestrated. I said that before. Because as I said, I thought I was going to go old and retire in working, and it took me 6 months to actually understand what God was telling me, and he tried to tell me directly. I wasn't getting the message, so he started making the environment uncomfortable for me. So in a place where I will walk in and be very happy, I was the life of, let me use my nephew's words, I'm the life of the party. So I would go to a place and I wasn't really, I wasn't having fun anymore. And I was like, what's going on? So there was a Tuesday. I was coming from church. I had midweek Bible study. And at this time, I had a friend who was staying with me in my house. But on that Tuesday, she had a separate engagement. And typically, if she were in the car with me, we would either be talking or we listen to, just having a conversation, or we'll listen to the radio. But it was just me, and it was intentional. So the minute I got in the car, God started talking, and he was telling me, I've been trying to get your attention. It's time to leave. Your assignment day is complete. And we had a conversation till I got home. This is about 20-30 minutes drive. And even after I got home, I was still in my car, and God was still talking, And when he finished, the first person I called was my dad. Because my dad is one of my family, my support system, my best friends are my family, without a doubt, first of all, before I think of anybody else. So I called my dad, because my dad and I have been having this conversation about my work, my finding it very difficult at work. So I called him first and I said to him, Dad, I've decided to resign. And you can hear me so clearly. I said it so smoothly. But when I was saying it to him in the car, something was coming out from my inside through my mouth. And it mumbled my words. I had to speak it out. And once I spoke it out, it was as if something came out of me. And I didn't even know I was carrying a burden. And I felt so light. And my dad said to me, whatever you do, I'll support you. That was all he said. So I got in that day, I prayed, and that day was Tuesday. So on Thursday, my sister's pastor, who's also my friend, called me up and we're just chatting. And I said to him, I'm thinking of leaving. I didn't tell him the conversation that God and I had.
Yeah.
For me, you do the work. If you were a man of God, a woman of God, you would tell me what God has told me. So I said to him, I'm thinking of leaving. So he said, okay, let's pray about it. We should fast. I said, I've started fasting. He said, I will join you in fasting. And he now said to me, you know that when you leave Guinness, you're not going to paid employment anymore. And I knew that he was genuine because he told me what I already knew. So I said to him, yes. Friday, so this is Tuesday. I had a conversation on Thursday. Friday was night vigil. So I went to church and I said to God, okay, God, I've agreed to resign now. So you need to tell me when am I going to resign, when is going to be effective date. So it was less than 5 minutes into praise and worship, and God just said, you're dropping your letter now, effective 1st of November. If I do the math, this day was probably 26th, 27th of October. For someone who is going to go into paid employment, who is going to go out of paid employment, you don't just go in. You plan, you save, you do so. God didn't want anything to take the attention or the glory for what he had planned. So he told me it was immediate. My resignation was going to be immediate. So I got to work on Sunday. Then I was still in the shopping mall. I got to work on Sunday and I sat down because that Sunday was the 1st of October. So I wrote my resignation letter that day. So I went to work on Monday feeling really light. It was as if I was resuming in a new place. You couldn't stop my shine. And I'm not kidding you, people were taking pictures of how I coordinated my colors very well. And they were like, something is going on, you know? And they couldn't put a finger, but I wasn't going to be telling anyone, anything yet. I forgot. My boss called me around 11 p.m. that night, the day I dropped my letter. She says, I know we had this conversation. I know we are all tired. That's actually what she said. But why so soon? I just told her, when you know, you know. And she now says, no problem. I'll see you on Monday.
Fumi, if I may come in. While you were working, because you talked about the mall. So that means while you were working, you had the business.
Yes.
So you already had the business. So it was not like you were going to be completely, redundant or, without anything. You already had the business going, right?
The truth was, yes, the business has started. The business was, I think, 3-4 years old. The fashion retail store was 3-4 years old then. And if I remember, I didn't plan. In fact, it was encouragement of friends and family. I would come into the office and they'll tell me, oh, do you have this in my size or do you have this in my wife's size? I remember more than once, I want to step out of a meeting and say, hey, hold on. And a colleague will call his wife and tell his wife, hold on, tell me to hold on, speak to the wife. And I would just get all her size dimensions and I would go and replicate everything I was wearing. So it was happening too often. Then I was selling from the boot of my car initially. And I have a handful of friends who told me, your talent is wasted here. Go and open shop. Don't worry. We would encourage you. We would patronize you. And of course, I started making money from very early. I started from, then it was 32 kg luggage allowance. Mm-hmm. So I started I would carry things from 32 kg, everything that would fit in, everything I bought for myself, everything I bought for my family, and to sell would fit into those 2 suitcases. And then I started growing, I started making more money, and I graduated from that to an extra suitcase, 2 extra suitcases. And then I moved on to cargoing. In short, God just had everything was, in his hands. So I would cargo, and from one big, box to 2 to 3 to 4. And I couldn't sell everything fast enough because, my inventory had increased. So I would wait because I was only selling to my colleagues then. I had nobody but my colleagues and their family and their friends and any referrals that they made for me. So it was just a small thing. I just thought I was just having extra money, turning my funds over and being liquid. But God had plans. So even when I opened the store, I honestly wasn't thinking of a long-term. It was more of, let me just prove to the world I can do it. So even after the first year, I would say, okay, you've proved your points. you can close shop now. But something will stop me. I'll say, okay, I'll do that next year. And that was my attitude. Year in, year out, I would just say, you know what, you proved your point, you can do it. Let's move on. Because like I said, I thought I was still going to be, you know, in 9 to 5. I was still going to be in a professional, you know, white collar job until I retired, until I grew old and gray. I never thought that my, you know, my side hustle was going to be the main hustle for me, you know. And because I involved God from the very beginning, he gave me the blueprint. He didn't give me the whole picture. And that's, if you're working with God, when you work with God, he never tells you the finished product. He just gives you snippets of it. Now, the responsibility is for you to keep going back to him to check, God, am I in alignment with your plan? Okay, I've gotten to where I could see, I don't see anything else. Could you please give me the next step? So that was what I was doing. So in all of it, he was just giving me direction. Go here, do this, do that, do that. You know, I didn't have the full picture like I do now. I still probably don't have the full picture, but I have a fuller picture than when I started off, you know. So my foundation, like I said, was always God. I was always, you know, God always was at the helm of affairs. God was always there from the get-go. So, you know, I wasn't doing anything on my own whim or on my own volition. It was always God taking me through the steps, which was why when I left paid employment and the experiences I had were not exactly pleasant. And that's something, you know, when you're working with God, it's not going to be so hunky-dory, you know, everything is all nice and cherry. You will go through the storm like every regular human being will go. But the difference between you and the person who doesn't have God in his mix is because you have him as your source, you have him as your guide, you have him as your teacher. So you're not going to mourn, you're not going to go, oh, woe is me, he doesn't love me. No. So even when I was lacking, even when I was going through the wilderness, I did not doubt, I did not fall flat. You know, he still was always taking care of my needs. I was telling someone, and I can tell you, my family here, that the amount of money I had in my bank account when I was in 9 to 5 was so much more than what I have today. But the amount of things I've done today have been far, far bigger. And I kid you not, guys, bigger than when I had the money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when it's time for me to get something done, God just makes the supply. Sometimes, most times, never comes from my bank account. The supply, God will send a destiny helper. Yeah. Or a vision supporter. The person will do the work and move on. You know. And I'll be looking like, oh my God, what just happened? Yeah. So that's been my journey.
Yeah. But for me, tell me something. You know, I hear you say a lot about, you know, how much God has helped you and, you know, but tell me, apart from, of course, I'm sure you go to church often, you are all of that involved in many things. But apart from that, tell me, what other things do you do? What else makes for me? What are the things that get you going?
Very, very easily, I'll tell you, is being there for others. And it's going to sound cliche or, you know, oh yeah, holier than thou. But for you who know me, you know that I get a rush when I do that. Now, 39, I was in London in November, and I was in a multi-denominational service. And I was telling God, okay, next year is 40, what are we going to do? And I opened my iPad, and God started talking, and I started to write. And the first thing that he said was, you're going to go to an orphanage, and it's time for you to begin to give back. And if I remember my growing up, I remember so many times people were there for me. My family, of course, has always been there, but I also had a larger family in the place of friends and people that were around us at the time. And they really blessed us in so many ways. So it was now time for me to begin to do something in, you know, I wouldn't say reciprocal because, you know, who am I? But it was time for me to, you know, give back. So God told me I was going to go to an orphanage, and the orphanage wasn't going to be a one-off. It was going to be my ministry, and I was going to do it continuously. And so I got back, and I reached out to a friend to say, I'm trying to find out all the orphanages in Nigeria. And I got a list of 6 because another friend had just done her 40th the year before. And she was the one I helped her source for the names. So she sent me names, and one by one I began to tick by the Spirit. Began to cross off everyone. I didn't pick Heritage. I didn't pick Little Sense. All the major ones, the paparazzi ones in my own terms. And it came down to 2. Ijamido Home for Abandoned Kids, Abandoned Children. And then there was another one in Ketu, Ikosi, somewhere. And so I sent someone to help me get the contact details. A friend of mine happened to live around that area. So she got me the contact details, and I called them. And within 5 minutes of speaking with the proprietor, I knew that that's where God had called me to be, And I told them, send me your list of what you need. And they sent me a whole list. And I said, I could do some of these things, but let me throw it out to my friends. Then it was the days of BlackBerry. We didn't have WhatsApp then. So I did a broadcast to all my contacts to say, I don't want to do a party. I don't want birthday presents. I just want you to help me. I'm going to this orphanage, and these are their needs. And instantly, I started getting responses. I'll do the printer. I'll do rice. And we went through everything. The only thing we didn't do on that list was to buy a bus, a 14-seater bus. We did everything else, And I had at least 10 friends who went with me all the way to Songo. My photographer people were just helping. We would go to the market and they'll tell, buy this for an orphanage. And the person who would sell would say, please give them this in addition. So we were getting free gifts. And that's one of the things you would experience when you are being led to do it by the Spirit of God. There's no struggle. Even till now, when we do accounts, this is 8 years on, when we do accounts, we look at, we've done 3 million in cash. This is apart from kind. We've forwarded to the home 3 million in cash, 4 million in cash. And we're wondering, how did we do this? But like I say, when you're doing things as led by the Spirit of God, He makes provision for you, And then there's another one that I support in Ibadan, Yesu Christi. This is, I don't have a WhatsApp group for this one. This is just me doing it. The lady came to my church sometime and she's a missionary, herself and her husband. They went on honeymoon to the north. So they went to Yankari Game Reserve, and they got to meet some really, really poor people. And that's how their own ministry started. So they go around churches and talk to people and whatever they can get. And I said to her, I want to be a part of it. And she said, I need to go and pray. And she called me back after a while and said, God said, you are okay to join us. So I give them cash because I don't go to Ibadan often. Songo is an easier drive for me. I don't know why, because Ibadan could have also been an easy drive. But they are based in the north. Their main ministry is in the north.
Okay.
And then there's another new one which I'm on the board on. It's called Hagarai. This is owned by another friend who adopted 10 young ladies from the north. She's Hausa. She's a Christian. She's Hausa. And with all this Boko Haram and all this tribal wars and religious wars, so there were 10 villages that children were just orphaned. Their parents were killed. So she went to 10 villages and picked one child each from the 10 villages, and she brought them to Lagos. They're in her house now. Their ages are ranging from 10 to 20, 21. So you can imagine what they're going through. Some of them are in secondary school, some of them are in primary school. And she's taking care of all of them. She's feeding them. She's sending them to school. She loves them like her own kids. And so she's opening an NGO, and she happens to have me on her board as well.
Okay.
So those are the 3 main ones that I do. I also feed my security men. I've been feeding them for 1.5 years in my estate. That also was a vision that God gave to me. So every weekend, I feed them. I do good food that I eat, nice, much. In fact, my brother has just accused me this morning that he's hungry and I'm feeding people in the outside. What's all that about? He's going to report me to the family. So, but we have handled that. So that's me. What I also have people that God sent me to give to. After watching a video about school teachers, private school teachers that were really going hungry during this COVID. And it just occurred to me that I had been blindsided. I had just I changed some money from dollars to naira, and I was going to use that money for something. And immediately I watched that video, I just realized that I had people around me. And I put together a list that God gave me. And I called them and I said, please send me your bank account details. And I forwarded all the money that I was going to do for something else. I forwarded, and I just said, from Jesus, from Jesus, from Jesus.
I mean, hearing you, you know, it seems like you have so much money. You know, hearing you say, oh, this guy has so much money. I mean, you're just throwing the money everywhere. So tell me, is it because you have too much that you're doing this? I know you are being led, but tell me, is it just because you have too much to do these things?
Trust me, like I said, when you check my bank accounts now, it's not what it used to be 5-6 years ago when I was in paid employment. But I remember one of the very early things I did. There was a crusade. My first camp meeting, this was almost 10-15 years ago. My sister, they had a retreat. I went to spend some time with my dad, and my siblings were going on a camp meeting. So I was like, oh, I've never gone to a camp meeting before. So I packed my load and I went along with them. And it was a service. It was like 3-4 days. I can't remember exactly how many, but one of the messages then was teaching us on those who wanted to be God's treasurers. And it was Pastor Taiwo Dukoya that took that service. And by the time he was done, he made an altar call to say, if you want to become God's treasurer. Now, many of us walked in front, because some of us, and I probably didn't understand the level of commitment that was, gonna be required of me then. I was just thinking, God, I want money. By the time I have money, I will give some to, So we all, in fact, I think the whole congregation went out because everybody needs money. So many of us didn't understand what we were stepping out for when we went forward. It's in hindsight now. And when I get these leadings by the Spirit, it's not something that you can ignore. Because there's someone, he said in the scripture that he will raise stones in your stead if you don't do it. So don't think that it is, if you don't do it, it will not be done. It will be done and done weller than you, So that's where I got the leading, I'm God's treasurer. So sometimes when I get this money, the first thing on my mind is, God, what is it for? All right. And then I listen and I hear. I had someone who called me and said to me, she was almost in tears. She said, every time without fail, just when I'm about to give up, I check my bank account details and I see that you've credited. I didn't even tell them. And I said to her, it's not me. Because when I'm getting the message, God is telling me, give my son, give my daughter. That's how I get the message. So when it gives me joy when I get that feedback, that's, so I know that, okay, it wasn't just me feeling very religious. I'll give you a little testimony. From these people that God asked me to give, these teachers that God asked me to give money to, one of them was not a teacher. And I was almost struggling with God. I was like, God, but this one is not a teacher now. And God said, give this person. And he told me, not only did he tell me who to give, he told me the amounts of money to give to those people. So I was having a back and forth. I said, but God, this person is in London. God said, give this person. So I called the person. I was chatting with her. I said, how are you? What's up? And the person was like, oh, I'm good. And I was like, God, can you see the person is even coding for me herself? She's even coding. Can you imagine? She doesn't need this money. So, so God just kept quiet because, how many times was he going to tell me to do something? So I just said, please send me your account. There's something that God said I should do. So she sent me her bank account details. And then I credited her account. And then she had to do a voice message. And this lady was in tears. She said, I didn't know God loved me this much. I was just talking to him this morning. I was telling him how was I going to go. I was kicked out of my house. I had nowhere to go. All the money with me, I had used to rent an empty room. So I was not telling God, God, is this it? Is this it? There's no bed. And the money just hits her account. So when I get those testimonies, I know that I'm not doing it for me. I'm doing it for God. And I'll tell you one of the rewards I got from this particular one. So I got my accounts, my pensions. I've not funded my pensions in 2 years, my pensions account. And I got the statement. I got a notification that I got a statement from them. And I wasn't really hot on going to check the statement because the last time I remember checking it, I had even lost ₦1 million because I want to believe that I hadn't done any personal contributions and also the COVID period. So I was like, why am I going to go? I want to go and say that I've lost another $1 million. Please don't even spoil my mind. So I just brushed it aside. So on this particular day, I was idle. I was okay, let me just check this thing. And I think another thing that stopped me from checking it wasn't asking for the last 4 digits of my RSA pin. I'm like, this one doesn't even have time itself. I will now go and look for trouble, look for the RSA pin. I will now come and see minus million. I beg. So on this day, I think I was going back and forth. I was cooking. So I had my laptop in front of me. So let me check this thing. And I saw ₦7 million had been credited into my RSA pension funds account. And you know what? I put the laptop like this. Yes. And I was calling. I was like, okay, no, maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's lost. Maybe it's... And I asked God, I said, God, what happened? He said, because you obeyed me. Give those people. And he put it in my RSA fund because I can't touch, you can't access that fund until you've passed retirement age. So he put the money there. And guess what, guys? When I gave the testimony, my friend was telling me, not only would that money be there, that money will also be traded with. That money will also bump the king. So by the time you are ready to access that money, with the money that was there before, so treasurer.
Tell me something. You talked about the orphanage for 8 years, the business for I don't know how many years now. Maybe under
I actually started both on the same year, 40. Yeah.
So the business are 8 years now, and then the soap and the other one, the soap,
the fashion retail, the body care 4 years old.
Body care 4 years old. So why? I can see this consistency in everything you're doing. You understand? So even though you tell me, this thing just happened, there must be something. There must be some things that you do. Maybe I'm so disciplined. I just don't do this. I just don't do that. I sleep at 2. I wake up at 10. Some of those things. Can you tell me some of these? You tell me this briefly, and then you tell me what is your philosophy. Just give me something. I know you're a Christian, but tell me what is your how do you see life? What is life to you? I'd like you to answer those 2 questions. Just answer them because I know people may have. I don't want it to be too long so that people can actually sit down and enjoy it.
My usual long way. Okay. I know I'm very family oriented, and I thank God for the family that I have and the foundation that my mom gave to us. When she was alive and we were going through those lessons, we didn't understand what she was teaching us, to be family focused and family oriented. She would call us every day, every morning, irrespective of where you are, what timeline you are. Mm-hmm. It used to really, really get us crazy, especially for my siblings who had, gone abroad then. And mom would call them at 2 a.m. or 3 a.m. just to say, how are you? Hope you are well, Guess what? We all do it today. All of us, myself and my siblings, my brother, the first phone message I would get on my text message when Funsho is not in the country is, hello sis, good morning sis.
Wow.
And he'll wait for, all of us do it today. We didn't understand, and my mom, in those days, was Igbo, and if she can't reach one, so maybe she's trying to call my brother in the States, and of course it's like, this woman should just allow me to sleep. She will not call my sister and say, Inugo no Funsho, or Inugo no goes. Have you heard the voice of your brother, your sister? So we do that now. You know, my sister would say, oh, she hasn't been able to reach Funsho. Have I seen him? Is this person, has that person? So we now do a traditional, on your birthday, we do video call. Well, of course, we have the family group, but on the birthday, we just do a video call on, and we just, you know, catch on. And our kids, all our children, have also followed suit as well. They've also keyed into that vision that my mother left years ago, you know. So it's all about family for me. If you ask me who are my mentors, I will first of all tell you my siblings. And I'm not trying to make them feel so cool or so, you know, because the truth is, they became entrepreneurs long before I did. They walked that walk long before I did. They had the lessons long before I did. So I would, you know, and they also imbibed so many of my mom's habits. My mom, you wake up in the morning, you're struggling from bed at 8 a.m. in the morning, and you step out of the bedroom. My mom has already had at least 2 cups of tea in front of her. She's had her to-do lists. She has a short, sweet list, 5, 6. And by 8 o'clock, she has already completed like 2 or 3. You know? And we used to wonder, doesn't this woman sleep? You know? But guess what? We all do it now. And she always had somebody around her. She was very big on delegating. I used to be the opposite. I wanted to, attention to detail, do it myself and keep myself while I'm at it. My younger brother, as young as he was, very early, he took that very well. He would always have one girl Friday or one boy Friday around him. So even when he was in Kutuenji and he needed something to be done in Kafanchan, Funsho would get it done pronto, because he had that, you know, learning from my mom very easily. So I look back and those lessons, my mom was very industrious. You know, she did so many things.
Yeah.
So it was very easy for me to pick up, it's people that you have around you and the learnings you have, very young.
Yeah.
So I was, it's like, it's not innate, because of course it had to be harnessed by the Spirit of God, but the foundation and the environment that I was in helped to build it very quickly, which is why, you all call me laje. It took me a while for me to understand what you guys meant. But, when I looked at myself through your eyes, I realized that, you know what, I am who I am. There's no hiding it. I am who I am.
Yeah.
So I don't have a formula. How do I do it? Is God, honestly. I don't have a formula. When it's time for me to rest, I rest well.
Mm-hmm.
I don't play with my rest, because when it's time for me to work hard, I work my ass off. Excuse my French. So work hard, play hard. I do the holidays. I do I do all the fancy stuff. I buy myself a present. I give myself a pat on the back. I'm not stingy to myself. When it's time to reward myself, I do that very well. But I also was, from a very early age, very prudent, and that's why I don't have habits, I don't, if I don't go to a cinema, it won't kill me. The last few times I've been to a cinema, it's friends that took me for, to spoil me. I don't buy mineral. I don't buy biscuit. I don't, all those things very early. You said something, you were saying 8 years business, 8 years.
Yeah.
I'll tell you something. I paid my down payment for my mortgage the same year I started my retail store. The same year I started the Jamido project. All on the same day, all in the same year. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
And that was because I had a vision, I had a goal. So it wasn't going to be, nothing was going to take me off it.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing multiple ajos. I would do like 2 or 3. I would move money from this account to pay for this one. I was even coordinator of one. And we were doing big amounts, not small, because, while I was 9 to 5, we had bulk. Of course, I was a madam, so I had big money, and I also had bulk payments. So all my bulk payments, I was just fixing them here, fixing them there. There's a song that it's a worldly, say worldly song. For the sake of not standing spiritual, there's a song that I heard very early, and I told myself by 41, I was going to want to sing that song and mean all the words in that song. And that song is one of the songs by Destiny's Child. Shoes on my feet, I bought it. House I live in, I bought it. Car I'm driving, I bought it. That song, when I heard this lady sing the song, I was like, and they're not even my age mates. At the time they were singing that song, they were already those things. And I said to myself, me, you are doing that. And so everything, I put my mind, my heart, my prayers, everything towards, I was going to get the house, I was going to get the store, I was going to get everything done. You know, sometimes I push myself too much. Yeah. But now that I'm older, I know, you know, I take a back seat and I relax. Mm-hmm. Then in 9 to 5, there was not the luxury of, you know, being flexible with your time and leave. So I would always break down once in a, you know, intermittently. I would have malaria and I would, you know, have to take time out. Because even when I was traveling to buy stuff for my business, I would go to work on that day, get home, I would have packed already, get home, get my bag, go straight to the airport, travel that day. As I'm hitting that country, I'm going straight to the stores. I'm buying everything. And I would always, you know, fix in a weekend in between so that I would have a longer stay. So I would hit the ground running. I remember so many times Kemi would pick me straight from the store, from the airport, and we're going to one other mall or the other. I would shop, cargo my things, and I'm back. They couldn't give me more than a week or two then in 9 to 5. So sometimes I would shop till I'm going back, you know? So now I do longer holidays. I would holiday, then I would now do my shopping. So now I do like a month, 2 months. I take my time, excuse me. I'm my boss now. You know?
Boss lady.
Thank you.
All right, interesting. Interesting. For me, you know, I heard something, you know, a few years back that an unexamined life is a life not worth living. I think that was Socrates or someone. That unexamined life. So looking at your life, looking at you, what are those things? I want you to just tell me 3 things. 3 things you are really, really, really thankful for, the kind of person you are. I mean, the way you are, whatever it is, just tell me 3 things you are really grateful for. Looking back at your life, just examine your life.
I'm very grateful for my family. I can't say that enough. One of my critics are my siblings. So if I'm going a route that they feel I need to be cautioned, especially my older sister, she won't even mince words. She will just, excuse you, how are you feeling like? Hello. She will bring me to my...
Really? I hope we get to see her face.
She's on the call already.
Yeah,
she just tell me, what are you feeling like? Excuse you, you know, and bring me to my level, you know. Not that I was getting ahead of myself, you know, but even when I'm feeling, oh, I don't think I'm good enough, you know, when I'm trying to give she said, no, don't even do that to yourself. So she's always my sounding board, you know, and also my English teacher. So there are some words that they believe that I don't pronounce very well. Like my brother had just corrected. I was telling him, oh, I have 30 gigabytes. And I said, what did you say? I said, it's not gigabytes, it's gigabytes. I said, repeat it again. I said, this is my younger brother. I said, for the last time, repeat it again. I said, gigabytes. I said, good. So I take lessons from anybody. And that's one of the, I'm not too big. There's no, you know, there's nothing too big for me. There's no assignment too small for me to do. I would do it very well. You know, the Lord says, you know, do it as unto the Lord, whatever you're doing. So even if it's an assignment you think you're belittling me by giving it to me, I'm honored to do it. I will do it and I'll do it well. Mm-hmm. You know, there's a prayer I always pray. I said, when I'm there, you will feel my presence. When I'm not there, you will feel my absence. I've been praying that prayer for a very long time, and I welcome everybody to grab that prayer and be praying it, you know, because they have to feel your impact. This world, this destiny, your generation and generations after you. Why are we reading about people in the Bible? Why are we talking about Esther? All those people that have died years ago. We're just talking about them today. Whatever lessons that, you know, they went through are still relevant for us today. So in another, how many years, let them be talking about the full meals and the emojis of how, you know, they did this and they did that. And because they did that, I am today.
Yeah.
That's the legacy I want to leave.
Yes.
Alrighty?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right now, I don't know if I have a third one thinking about it right now, but I'm thankful for the kind of friends and family. And when I say friends, I'm talking about, you know, you guys, C88 sets. Because when I want to have a conversation, I want to think it. I don't think twice about picking the call and calling any of you or sending a message to any of you. And I'm not shy of telling you, of being vulnerable. I remember I said that some time ago. If I can't be vulnerable around you, then you have no business being around me. Because I can't be living. You can't be in my circle and I'll still be guiding myself. Let me not say, let me not do. Please, then you honestly can't be in my circle. So I want to be myself. Just take me the way I am. See me, take me, love me. Yeah. And I come with no airs, and I expect that back. It's okay if you're God, if you're watching, okay, is she genuine? Is she real? Is she, but after how many years we've been together, if you're still wondering if I'm genuine, then please take a walk. So when you surround yourself with the right people, they will tell you the truth, and you will take that truth with you and you examine it, and you won't even think about, is it because, or is it because, you would actually see that it's genuine feedback, and it will help you. And that's one of the things I've tried to do, very deliberately, is surround myself with people that are real, so that, because we can't, there's no one person that knows it all. There's someone I'm following very, very closely, which is Apostle Joshua Selman Nimak. And he says, one of the things you need to pray for is a burden bearer. Someone that will take your burden. I was talking to my brother recently, and, he has this business he's expecting. And of course, it's meant to be big. And I said to him, you can't be expecting big things to come, and you're putting in small effort in the place of prayer. You can't. You have to, that massive thing you want to receive, you also have to spend that massive amount of time in the place of prayer. That's one. And two, you need divine connectors, people that probably can't be the ones that will lead, that will give you what you want, but have, will connect you. Yeah. And example was the slave girl, Naaman's slave girl. Yeah, Naaman was a Syrian, but, they had enslaved one of the children of God. So with Naaman's leprosy, she said to him, she told her, Madam, there's one guy in my village. If you go there, this leprosy thing, it will clear. So that's a divine connector. Yeah. And then there's gifted people. That's your staff. You need to pray for them deliberately. Yeah. Pray for people that are around you that, really, this NSAS time, my pastor's wife gave us a challenging testimony. She said, in the mall that I used to be, that was, one of the malls that were vandalized during these NSAS protests that turned dirty. While they were breaking into everybody's store, she said her staff defied all odds. They all went into the mall and they went to salvage everything. In the midst of people that were vandalizing, they went to carry everything. Those are gifted hands. People that actually have your best interest at heart. People are not thinking of their own life or their own safety. They defied all that. They went in and she was able to. And this lady is an ophthalmologist. She had equipment that she shipped in from out of town. So imagine the millions of naira that she would have lost if those people didn't go and help her. Yes. Those are divine connectors. And then there's destiny helpers, burden bearers, people that will carry your burden for you. Yeah. And he now says that pray that your spouse is a burden bearer. Number one. Number two, he says, but the only way this thing will also work for you if you are also a burden bearer to other people as well. So it's reciprocal. You also have to be, you attract what you
want to give.
Exactly. Yeah. And then there's actually the people that are the destiny helper, the people that actually will do it for you. They can do it for you. And I gave him an example. I said, years after I left British American Tobacco, I bumped into an old friend of mine who told me that while I was in British American Tobacco, my loan application came to her desk. And immediately she saw my name, she just approved it. She never told me. This is years after I left. I was already like 3-4 years in Guinness when she told me this. Those are destiny helpers. People that you don't even know them. They don't even know, you don't even have to call them, but God has put them there specially for you to help you. If you have these 4 people in your life will be easy. Which is why I said, I don't have the money in my account all the time. But when it's time for me to do something, God makes the resources available. and I do it so effortlessly, and you see me looking very sharp. Instead, I'm asking God, God, you did it again. But meanwhile, I have this demeanor as in, I did it, I'm moving on. But meanwhile, I'm doing cartwheels in my heart that, God, this is not you.
That's interesting. Bobby, tell me, I know, do you like dancing?
What are you talking? Dancing queen.
So which is your favorite move?
What's my favorite move now? I don't know. Because when you're dancing, you're dancing holy dance. So you're not, you can't do all your moves. Before they say, can we lay hands on this woman of God? I honestly don't know. I can't believe this. I don't know. Help me. What dance did you see me dancing last? Maybe that would be my...
Well, I don't know. Maybe... Okay, just show us the move and then maybe we can tell you the name.
It's not my hands. It's just...
All right.
Oshoki.
Oshoki. Okay. Great. Yeah. Thank you, Fumi. Thank you so much. Thank you. I knew you were going to be fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you.